Hi, good evening. Tonight I am solo, but I'm going to take you on a journey back in time. Specifically to a time around 8 years ago when Lauren and I were just a few months past where you are right now, giving the commencement speech to Irwin's 2015 graduating class. Yeah, the clicker works. Next. This is Enjoy the Ride. I'm Megan Kane, obviously missing Lauren Davis, but I'm going to do my best to tell you both my story and hers. You see, when Lauren and I gave this speech about 8 years ago, we were standing on stage giving a toast with juice boxes to the class of 2015. And at this time, we both had very clear expectations of what we thought our journey into college was going to be. See, Lauren was headed to Western Carolina University, and I was headed to UNC Chapel Hill at the time. And we thought, college is just a place where you show up, you sign up for a couple of classes, some of them are hard, some of them are easy, and then you have a little bit of fun in between. However, the reality was quite different than that. It's been a little while since I've had a math class, but I'm pretty sure the expectation was a very linear path, and the reality was not that. I think you could call that peaks and valleys, highs and lows, whatever. Lauren's expectation, she actually entered college hoping to graduate with a construction management degree. And she wanted to do it in 3 years. Can't tell you why. And then she thought after that she'd get a job, and then yay, adulting. She'd made it. She'd done what she needed to do. But what actually happened was Lauren only studied construction management for a semester, and that wasn't enough time for her to get that pink hard hat that you get at graduation when you graduate with a construction management major. She ended up doing an engineering internship, but switched her major not once, not twice, but 3 times over Christmas break, and found her way to an accounting and finance degree. She got to intern for a human resources firm, and then finally landed a big internship with a financial planning firm. Me, on the other hand, I thought that I was going to graduate with honors in physics and become TV's hottest nerd, a female Neil deGrasse Tyson, if you will. And I wanted to travel the world and educate people. However, freshman year chemistry humbled me, and humbled me hard. I was in a 400-person lecture hall. It was every cliche that you would ever imagine, 8 a.m., Tuesday, Thursday, and it was awful. I cried a lot, and it was quite the awakening for me because I'd always been really good at the things that I had tried, and science was kind of my thing. But luckily, I really loved my journalism classes, so I leaned into that, and I switched my major to journalism and economics. And I met a lot of my mentors through that path, and I ended up directing and producing a lot of UNC sports broadcasts. And then I also landed my big internship. And Lauren and I were back together again. I was developing apps at CNN, and Lauren was accounting at PwC in Atlanta. We were 2 small town girls from North Carolina in the big city together. And this was right before our senior year, and we both kind of took a second. We were like, okay, we've made it to this point that we felt like was success. When you're in college, and you'll get to this point, you're always gunning for that big internship and the next thing that you can tell your friends and your family about and be excited about and have them excited for you. And Lauren and I had done that, and it was a year before we were about to graduate and head off into what we called adulting. We both took a second, and we looked at each other and we're like, okay, you made it, I made it, we're here. Is this what we want? Is this our definition of success? And we both had very different answers to that. So, how many of you, by show of hands, are excited to graduate? Raise your hand for me. There we go, don't be shy. All right. And then how many of you, by show of hands, know what you want to major in? Yeah, okay. And then how many of you don't know what you want to be when you grow up? Yeah? See, if Lauren were here standing next to me, her hand would also be raised. She'd be standing next to me, hand would be raised, because both of us, 4 years into adulting, still don't know what we want to be when we grow up. And that's okay. Because if we had, none of this would have ever happened for Lauren. because it's not really about the destination that you're headed to, it's really about the journey. And if Lauren were here, she would tell you that her journey was supposed to be starting at that summer internship her junior year. She was at PricewaterhouseCoopers, and she was excelling. She was doing a great job, and when you excel at that internship, they give you a job offer at the end. And they sweeten the deal, and they say, hey, if you take this job offer and you sign this letter, you get to go to Disney World. Well, Lauren went to Disney World. She signed the job offer with PwC after her junior year internship, and she entered her senior year with guarantee of employment. And the way that her journey was supposed to go is, all she had to do to maintain that corporate job offer was keep that 4.0, and then she has to go back to school and get her master's in accounting and prepare for a really big accounting test. And then she'd begin working, and then she'd start adulting. Yay, destination reached. However, Lauren did graduate, and she did keep that 4.0 that she wanted, and she graduated with her 2 degrees in accounting and finance. And when she graduated, she was still signed on to be an accountant. At the same time, her family had started farming, and her mother and her stepdad were both very passionate about the opioid crisis and healing people who have PTSD. Her stepdad's a veteran, and so this was very close to home to them. And so Lauren had to sit back and think, am I passionate about accounting, or am I passionate about helping people? And the answer ended up being that she was passionate about helping people and not so much accounting. So about 2 weeks, I was with her. 2 weeks before she was due to start her master's program, she was like, I don't think I'm gonna do this anymore. And we were like, okay, that's big news. And so she dropped her master's program. She had to send an email to PwC, and in the process, she feels like she really disappointed a bunch of her family members, her friends, not me, and some of her professors, and decided that she was going to join her family's farm. And just about a month ago, her family actually gave a tour to 2 members of the state's General Assembly of their state-of-the-art hemp production farm. And yeah, none of that would have happened if Lauren had known what she wanted to be when she grew up. Now it's time for a riddle. What's the one thing that every college freshman loves? Think about it, think about it. Free food. Free food, that is the one thing that every college freshman loves. And let me tell you, one free meal changed the entire trajectory of my college career. So the first week of my freshman year, I attended a free lunch. And at this lunch, someone told me about how I could take my passion and love of sports and turn it into a career. And you can also apply for a fellowship to take you anywhere in the world to study sports entrepreneurship. The only catch was that I would have to travel by myself. And it was quite daunting to somebody who had never traveled outside of the country, much less traveled on her own, to think about going by myself. So I got the fellowship. I applied for it and I got it, and I ended up traveling to Australia, where I lived and worked for 3 months. And I gained lots of valuable work experience working with sports betting companies and developing apps, and I made a lot of new connections with new mentors that I still keep in touch with to this day. But the most valuable part is that I gained so much more confidence in myself, because there's nothing like traveling by yourself. Because when you're thousands of miles away from your family and your friends, you've got to trust that you have your own back. And that is one of the most incredible things to do when you're 20 years old. And also, people find you infinitely more interesting when you're traveling by yourself, so you'll make some friendships that'll last a lifetime. I decided after I was done in Australia that I wanted to keep going. That wasn't enough. So I found a way to go to London and live and work for another couple of months. However, at the time, this meant that I'd have to give up my economics major. And that was a big deal to me at the time, because I really, really enjoyed the economics classes I was taking and what I was learning. So I had to take a moment to sit back and think and be like, okay, do I really want this economics major? Or do I want to live in Europe in my 20s? Which one's going to be more important to me? Obviously, I chose London, and I wouldn't be where I am if I hadn't. See, while I was at Carolina, I took my classes. I enjoyed my classes and I excelled in my classes, except for chemistry. But I made the decision to turn my education into experiences. I took what I learned in class to opportunities with ESPN, to a reporting assignment in the Middle East, and to the London series with Major League Baseball, all while I was still in school. In my short career, I've developed AI for global betting companies, and now I'm a reporter and a host for NPR. I also help manage College Game Day from week to week, and I also oversee ESPN's presence at the NBA Finals, while also hosting a podcast for a global brand. I didn't pick one thing to be. I didn't pick one passion to follow, and I put time and effort into what I was excited about, and I let it lead me around the world. You don't have to pick one thing to be or one thing to do. We know that we're a bit young to be giving you this speech because we're only 4 years into this adulting thing and barely 8 years older than you. We don't have it all figured out. And if Lauren were here, she would tell you that if the girl who's standing on the New York Stock Exchange could see where she is now, farming hemp and making content for people, she wouldn't believe you. She'd also want you to know that high achievers, this room is full of high achievers, and it's important that you trust your hustle and relax into that hustle and enjoy the ride through it, because you're going to get yourself there. You have to have faith in that. Things are going to get sticky and they're going to get hard, but you've always made it through 100% of the things that have been thrown at you. And don't allow your plan to hold you back from your purpose. Don't put on blinders. Allow yourself to see the things on the periphery, because it might lead you to something that's even more exciting. Keep doing the legwork and let the rest fall into place. And for me, it's all about filling your journey with experiences, because success will follow after that. Do the things outside of your comfort zone. I jumped out of a plane in a hot dog suit, and I hate heights. So follow that. Do the things that make you uncomfortable, and you'll prosper in that direction. Enjoy the connections that you make along the way, because it's all about the people that you meet. I wouldn't be where I am if I hadn't met one woman who introduced me to the head of College Game Day my senior year. She and I made a connection, and we just kept it going, even after I graduated. And then make sure that you take your classes, but use your experience. Don't be afraid of the real world experience that you can have outside of it. Make sure to get outside of the classroom and keep going and keep pushing. And like I said, we're a bit young to be giving you this speech. We were only 4 years into adulting. But if you leave here with one thing tonight, we want you to know that that's okay. Whether you set small goals to chase your passions, change your major 3 billion times, or even get a C in freshman year chemistry. Take your time. Enjoy your journey. Enjoy the little moments and the people around you. Think about the stories that you want to tell when you're old and gray. And who knows, if you take your time and enjoy your path, you might